Welcome back to the online classes of physics. This is Onaima Miss back again with a new class, that is law of motions. This is your third lesson of your textbook. So let us continue. So in a day-to-day life, we have already learned about the motion. Yes, we have learned about the motion. Now we'll go with the laws of motion. Philosophers of the ancient world were very interested in finding out something new. Yes, one question always pop up their mind was, what is natural state of an object if object is left to itself. Okay, if you leave some object like that, what will happen? What will naturally happen to it? Okay, then they tried and tried. Suppose for example, if you're if you're going on a bicycle and if you stop paddling the bicycle, what will happen? It will stop. Your cycle will slowly, bicycle will slowly, gradually it gets into slow. Yes, it will stop after some times. We wonder to know that Aristotle, the great philosopher of that time, also concluded that the natural state of an object is to be at rest. So the thing is, after, if you don't apply any force to it, obviously the thing comes at rest. Yes, the thing come at rest. Then Galileo, what did he stated? Galileo stated that an object in a motion remains in same motion as long as no external force is applied to it. Suppose a ball is there, you have left it like that only, so that means you have not applied any force on it. If you have not applied any force on it, then the object will remain at rest. It will not move, it will not have any motion until and unless the force is not applied on it. If you apply the force only, then only the ball will start moving. If you don't apply any force, the ball will not move. That means if the object is left at natural state, at its natural state, the ball will be at rest. So that means ball is the object here now. So object, when it is placed, we are leaving it at its non-natural state, we can see that the object is at rest. Yes. So for this also he did one experiment. What he did is inclined plane with smooth surface and observed that the smoother than the surface, the further the ball traveled. That means he has taken a ball and he placed it on an inclined surface. Then what did you see? The smoother the surface, and it is having a slope also. So that means the ball starts moving very easily and also moves at the some speed. Okay, if the ball is placed at this surface, plane surface, then you can see that the ball after some times comes at rest position. Okay, so that means here if the plane surface is inclined, the surface is inclined, then you can see that the ball can move easily. The smoother the movement of the ball. So what did Galileo observed? As we have learned, the marbles released from the initial height roll down due to the force of gravity, then moves up with the slope until it reaches its initial height. We have learned in our previous class regarding this. So we have used some marble and we have seen on the inclined plane and we have applied some force. It is coming back only after, when it is going up, it takes some more force, and when it is coming down it takes less force, and this means the distance traveled by it is greater. He made his observation further by a reduction in the angle of upward slope. He got the same result. To reach the same height, the ball had to go further each time. Then there arose a question, how far must we have to move to reach the same height if it has no slope to go up? Suppose there is no slope, then how much we have to use, we must apply the force, how much it has to be moved to reach the same height. Since it has no slope to go up, obviously it should be kept on moving forever along the level surface at the constant velocity. So he concluded that the natural state of a moving object, if it is free of external influences, is uniform motions. So we'll go with the first law of motion. The first law of motion can be stated as every object will remain at rest or in a state of uniform motion unless compelled to change its state by the action of a net force. So until and unless you are not applying any force, suppose a ball is placed here, until and unless you are not applying a force, it is not going to move. So that means the object is said to be at rest. Okay, it is having a uniform motion. Okay, every object will remain at rest or in a uniform motion unless compelled to change its state. State means its movement, its motion by action of some net force. Until and unless there is no force applied, there is no motion. So this is the first law. So Newton's first law explained what happens to an object when there is no net force acts on it. It either remains at rest or moves in straight line with constant speed. So we can say that whatever the net force is here is nothing but it is equal to 0. The force of the net force is 0 because it is we are not applying any force, so the force is 0. For this, if we do with an activity, see, if we are taking a thick paper and we are placing it onto a tumbler. Okay, just we are placing it onto a tumbler. Then what do you see on this paper? On this tumbler we are just placing a paper, and on this we are placing a coin. So what is going to happen? We are just simply moving the coin immediately. If the coin did not move forward, it falls down into the tumbler. Either it may move forward or it may directly, if you just removing the paper like this, it will fall into the tumbler. Yes? As shown in the figure, you can see just if simply we are removing the paper, what is happening. So the coin didn't move because no force has acted. The force did not act on the coin. The force was acted on the paper. Yes, so that's why the coin did not move. The paper moved. It fell down into the glass tumbler because it is in the state of rest. We are not applying any force on this coin, so that's why it has fell into a glass tumbler. There is no force applied on the glass tumbler. So this is the first law of motion. If we go with one more example, if we go with this carom board as shown here in the figure, if you go with this, you can see that when you are hitting the striker, we are just moving the coins in one direction. What is happening? So you can see here that when you are hitting the you are giving just a sharp hit to the stack, one of the coin and striker. And you can see that the coin is going in some direction. Okay, it is moving itself. So that is nothing but it is called as dynamic inertia. It's called as dynamic inertia. Now what is this dynamic inertia? See, when the object is moving, when we are applying some force, it is moving in some direction. The body which is in motion, always it tries to move in some direction until some force acts on it. Until some force acts on it to stop or to take into another direction, this body starts moving. The coin moves in some direction. That is called as dynamic inertia. For example, say if you are going in a bus. So when the bus, which is at rest, begins to move suddenly, what will happen? You will fall backward. This is because of static inertia. It's nothing but it is because of static inertia. And when the bus suddenly stops, okay, you fall forward. That is nothing but dynamic inertia because you are going in some direction. Suddenly when the bus stops, it makes you fall forward. So that is nothing but your dynamic inertia. Okay, I hope you understood dynamic and static inertia. Static is, see, for when the force which is making you fall backward is nothing but static inertia. The force which is showing you some direction, it is allowing you to move in some direction until and unless you apply some force to stop yourself, or someone is applying some force to stop it or to move it into another direction. That is nothing but the dynamic inertia. So as I said, net force acting is 0. So if the net force acting on an object is 0, the object which is at rest remains at rest. Or if the object is already moving with some certain velocity, it continues to move with certain speed, certain velocity. Okay, if it is moving with certain speed, then it will move with that speed only until it stops. Yes. Thus we can say that the first law of motion is given as F net is equal to 0. Then the velocity of an object is either 0 or constant. 0 or constant. We can give the velocity as 0 or constant. 0 means if it is having no velocity, it is remaining, it is containing the same. And the constant means if it is moving with some speed or velocity, it will have the same thing. So that means the body is said to be in equilibrium. Hence, as we are knowing about the inertia here, dynamic inertia and static inertia, the first law of motion is also called as law of inertia. The first law of motion is also called as law of inertia. Newton's first law of motion is also called as law of inertia. So here what is happening? Inertia means property of matter that resists the changes in the state of motion or rest. So here inertia again depends upon the mass. So mass of the object is considered as the measure of inertia. Okay, it is considered as the measure of inertia. Fine. So the SI units of mass here is kg. SI units is kg. Fine. So that means if an object, suppose the inertia depends upon the mass also. Suppose you are having one, heavy object and you are having one less weight objects and you are pushing the same at the, some speed. Okay. Do this both require the same speed to move? Same force is required to move? No. Yes. You can tell that the greater the mass of an object, the greater it will resist the change in its state of motion. If the mass is more, it requires more energy, and the mass is less, it requires less energy to rest. Isn't it? If you are just moving it, the mass, the object which contains the more mass, it requires, the large amount of force. So this resists the change of state of inertia, whereas this, it requires less energy, so this can be moved easily. So this, comparatively to this higher mass, you can say that less weighted, less mass object is having less compatibility to resist the changes in the state of motion or rest. So with these we learn about the first law of motion, that is Newton's first law of motion. It's also called as law of inertia. So I hope it is understandable. Kindly try to revise once again if you don't understand. I request you all to even go with the textbooks because these laws are very easy to understand, but if you practice again and again, it is very easy to memorize. So kindly request you to go through the textbook also and try to understand it. These are the very important laws which are useful in your further classes also, like in your higher educations, that is in your 11th and 12th class also, they are very important. So I kindly request you to go through it. Until I come back with the next video, kindly take care. Thank you for watching.